Danielle joins us now, and there is a lot going on, all sorts of watches and warnings across the province.
Yeah, some big storms moving through. We talked about this arriving in Calgary at 2. That's what happened. We had some shower activity, some thunderstorm activity in the city. Now for Calgary itself, much of this is out of the way. There's still a little bit of potential as we go through the next couple of hours, but the worst of it is tracking towards Brooks at the moment. These cells, as we also talked about yesterday, would intensify as it moved to the east of the city, and that's exactly what's been happening. So now you're looking at that larger size hail with some of these cells, 90-kilometer-per-hour wind gusts, big downpours, and as you can see, lots of lightning as well. Down the Trans-Canada towards the Brooks area, Medicine Hat, you'll see some activity as well. It's one of those active days, absolutely. It's one of those days to take these storms seriously. 17 degrees. This is a cold front that's swiping through. That's the lift we needed. When you combine that with the heat that was out there, this cold front, though, is ushering in a much cooler air mass. So we're not going to have the heat that we've had, and it will be cooler for the next few days. So chance of shower thunderstorm activity, although it's smaller in Calgary, we could have that for the next couple of hours before things are completely out of the way, and a little gusty at times as well. Fog patches early tomorrow morning, and then for the rest of the day tomorrow, it's all sunshine and a high of 20.
Okay, we really do have serious weather. You're talking some impressive size hailstones in some parts of Alberta.
Baseball size hail possible.
Baseball size hail.
Yeah, not for Calgary.
That's good.
Around the Brooks area, as this intensifies. So we have all these ingredients in place, and it's not making a cake, but there's certainly things that we need to look at as meteorologists with regards to all the things in place to create these larger size storms. And a couple of the key things, of course, is that we have to have the heat, that's the fuel, and we need that lift to push the air up. So with that cold front that's moving through, yes, that's the lift right there. And you can see how things have cooled down because of this cold front throughout the province. We have all the heat here still residing, and as this cold front, that much cooler air mass collides with the warmer air mass here, and we have that lift. And of course, as you can see, we certainly have the heat. Lethbridge is at 30, Medicine Hat 31, Milk River 31. This is what we're looking at. So we're looking at that active weather. Now we're going to cool down significantly. This will at least break the heat in the far southeast, but it's doing that with some very dangerous weather, as you can see. So where we have the severe thunderstorm warning in place is around the Brooks area. Lowman, it looks like not quite the risk that some other communities have. So Countess, Rosemary, Duchess, Brooks, these are the areas that we're looking at right now with that really severe cell, and other cells south of Medicine Hat. Not as intense as this one here. This is the big one, but certainly larger size hail, 90-kilometer-per-hour wind gusts, big downpours, lots of lightning, especially with this cell right here. For Calgary specifically, we've had some thunderstorm activity, but nothing severe, and we're pretty much done with it. So we may see a little bit of activity over the next couple of hours, but nothing as intense as this. This is tracking towards that Brooks area, Duchess area. I'm going to pop out the lightning so you can see. And when we see the white with this, and we did see a little more white earlier on, that signifies that larger size hail. Baseball size hail is possible with this cell. This is a big cell. This is something serious, absolutely. Again, tracking towards Countess, Rosemary, Duchess, Brooks. Okay, when are we done with this? Well, we're pretty much done with this. This is a look at the midnight hour, but all that really intense activity should be done mainly by about 8, 9 p.m. And then it's completely out by the time we get into the midnight hour. And then we have the ridge of high pressure building in, and that's going to set us up for sunshine for the rest of the week and stability. So we won't be dealing with this kind of activity at all as we head through that longer term forecast. So for Calgary specifically, yes, maybe a couple showers, isolated showers possible throughout the next couple of hours. Then it quiets down tonight. Fog patches developing into early tomorrow morning, and then it's all sunshine. 20 degrees though. Again, this cold front has ushered in a cooler air mass. So just a high of 20 for tomorrow, which is a little below normal. 21 for Friday, 24 for Saturday, and still is mid-20s and lots of sunshine for Sunday.
Danielle, I understand it is rare that you see a storm this ferocious, shall we say,
yeah,
right?
this intense. I do want to show you this on the radar. This when we talk about cells to take seriously, absolutely. Look at all that lightning. I'm going to pop out the lightning, and when you can see that large white spot, this is baseball-sized hail at least. The core of it, the worst of it, just to the north of Brooks. This also comes with very intense winds, over 90 kilometers per hour. This is a big storm that's tracking off to the east. So Brooks, north of Brooks, just off to the east as well. And this may intensify further as it tracks off to the east. Calgary, though, we're in the clear. We may see a little bit of shower activity for the next couple hours, but not much to worry about. 20 for tomorrow, lots of sunshine, and then the sunshine continues right through the weekend.
Well, we have some very active weather in southern Alberta tonight. Severe thunderstorm watches and warnings are in place. So let's bring Danielle in now. What areas need to be aware of this tonight?
Well, just outside of Brooks to the east, the northeast specifically. So Patricia, Princess, this is an exceptional cell. This doesn't happen that often, fortunately. You can see all the lightning associated with this. I'm going to pop out the lightning. I'm going to zoom in here. And when you see this white core here, that's a massive hail core, which is why baseball-sized hail likely has already fallen with this cell, and we may even get larger than that before this is all said and done. So at this point, Patricia, Princess in its path in areas just to the north of that and just to the east of that. It's still very, very intense. It's not dying out fast enough. So large-size hail up to baseball-size hail still possible with that cell. We did have a couple cells track, pretty decent ones track south of Medicine Hat. That's off into Saskatchewan now, and the other ones are much weaker. And for Calgary specifically, we had some shower thunderstorm activity, but we had nothing that intense. We talked about this yesterday about when it reached just to the east of Calgary, these cells would really intensify for today. That's exactly what's happening. All right, looking at those next 24 hours for the city, we have the chance of a non-severe thunderstorm in the city for the next couple of hours, but the worst is already done. And then a ridge of high pressure builds in. We're looking at stable, we're looking at cooler, sunshine, and 20 for tomorrow afternoon, Tara.
All right, let's bring Danielle back in now. Some very active weather that you're keeping your eye on tonight.
Absolutely. This one is a big deal for sure, and I'm going to show you the system in just a second, but I do want to talk about why we've gotten to this point with this system. And we talked about this yesterday with a cold front swiping through. You can see it's done that. The temperatures have cooled. We still have the heat, though, in the southeast corner as that cold front approaches these areas. When we have the cold front, we have the lift, and that's something that we need. And when you combine that with the fuel, the heat that we've been having, well, that leads to some very active weather in many cases when you have a couple other ingredients in place. So this is what's been happening, and we have this cell right here, which is quite exceptional. It's not often that you see one on the radar that looks like this and that's doing what this is doing. So larger size hail, absolutely, with this. Check out all the lightning. This is the lightning strikes just in the last 15 minutes. So that's a lot of lightning associated with this. I'm going to pop that out, and you can see this cell is starting to weaken a little bit. So when you have that white core there, that's a large hail core, and this one's suggesting baseball size hail in some cases, but we can see it starting to lose that. So it is getting a little less intense, still very intense, still Toonie size hail, certainly possible with this as it tracks off to the east. Howie, Cessford, Patricia, Princess, catching the edge of this likely. So this is one of those cells absolutely that's doing some damage. When we look at Calgary specifically, we had some showers. We talked about it starting at 2 o'clock. That's what happened. Non-severe thunderstorm activity. Could we see any more activity? Well, we have these little cells that are tracking to the south. So Innisfail, Didsbury, you could see some of this. Again, this is not as intense, but it could intensify as it tracks east of the QE2, east of Highway 2, because we still have more heat in some communities. There you go. There in the orange is a look at where we have the warning in place that we talked about from that cell, and everywhere else pretty much is under a watch, because over these next couple of hours, these things could bubble up and intensify very quickly. Looking at the future cast here, up until about 8:30 tonight, we even have the potential east of the QE2 of getting any sort of activity, but by midnight, it's quiet, and it will be quiet for the rest of this week. We have a ridge of high pressure building in, and that will keep things very stable for the rest of this week. Now, again, this cold front really did drop the temperatures, so it's going to take a bit of time to recover and get that heat back. This is your Action Furnace 5-day forecast. 20 degrees for tomorrow, maybe a few fog patches in the morning, but other than that, nothing but sun. We'll get back into those mid-20s with lots of sunshine for the weekend, Tara.
That's a very good cause. Okay, do you guys remember the movie Air Bud?
Yes.
So cute. Well, the search is on for the next Air Bud, and contestants are submitting their applications. Okay. Yep, the Air Bud family is searching for a purebred golden retriever to star in Air Bud Returns, carrying the 14-film franchise forward. I didn't know there was 14.
Wow,
really? No idea.
Producers say that the golden must embody the charm and the athleticism of the original Air Bud star, and ideally would, of course, love basketball. The deadline to submit an application is this Friday.
How could you pick one out of those cute puppies? Really?
No idea. You just got to cover your eyes and just point.
Or we make Air Buds and put them all in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. A BC man's treasure was literally in the trash. At least his wife's wedding and anniversary rings were. She lost them while she was washing her hands at a restaurant.
I said I'd go to the dump in the morning and ask them if I could go through the compost pile.
He said, let me try. I said, okay.
Well, to everyone's surprise, Steve Van Isseldick found wife Janine's wedding rings in the 18 tons of compost at his local dump. Now, he wasn't working alone. Danny Webster is a contractor at the Mission Sanitary Landfill, so he helped to isolate smaller sections so Isseldick could dig through them. He says he had really, in his own head, kind of deemed this a lost cause, but he wanted to lend a hand because this husband was so dedicated. He's like, okay, sure, I'll help. And then they found them.
That's a good husband.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Also, he probably didn't want to have to buy a new one.
Probably
so
not.
This was, he's like, I'm willing to do
maybe
this.
she loved that ring. It was a beautiful ring.
Right.
Well, what started as a lighthearted foodie video turned terrifying in a matter of seconds. Just watch this. Holy cow, a car crashed through a Houston restaurant window, sending these two food bloggers flying off the bench. Police say the driver thought her SUV was in park, and then she took her foot off the brake, and of course the car just barreled into the restaurant. That pair somehow walked away from that moment with just minor cuts and bruises.
They're very lucky.
So lucky. What a shock that would be. When you see it in slow motion, you just realize how intense that is.
Wow.
And they probably got more social hits than ever before.
I bet now everyone's following them. Yeah.
Right. Okay, Skywatch weather camera. Well, in Calgary, we certainly did okay in comparison. We did have a couple isolated pockets of showers, a quick little non-severe thunderstorm. But this was an hour ago. A storm chaser caught this viz for us. And this is about an hour ago, just south of Rosemary. The winds were so bad, it was almost blowing the car over, apparently. And very, you can see the heavy rain. Almost can't see anything. So in addition to that, that larger size hail in some areas, up to baseball size hail, certainly possible with this radar signature that we were looking at. This cell is starting to weaken, but it's still a pretty intense storm. So here's a look at all the lightning associated with that. Again, that's lightning within about a 15-minute time span. So that's a lot. That's not a normal thing with these cells. Okay, this one, you can see when it had the white, but now it's starting to weaken a little bit. It's still intense, still could produce maybe Toonie size hail. It's in Cavendish area now, heads up Empress, McNeil. This, or at least the edge of it, is tracking towards you. And this is coming with very strong wind gusts, over 90 kilometers per hour. Huge downpours, lots of lightning, and potentially still that Toonie size hail. Okay, for Calgary, we've been fairly quiet throughout the day in comparison. There are some cells trying to develop, but the key thing is these are dying out before they even get to the QE2. Now, we could see a little bit of activity in Calgary, but nothing really because of this. The temperatures have cooled. Now that we have the cooler temperatures, these storms cannot be as intense. But near Medicine Hat, still some possibility if it's tracking towards you. So what we're doing is we're starting to calm down at this point for the evening, but there's still some intensity and some thunderstorms that could be pretty decent, really closer to the Saskatchewan border. Absolutely. All areas pretty much under the severe thunderstorm watch, Calgary included in that, although it's not likely for Calgary. Will be a little windy at times. Things will clear out tonight. Fog patches to kick off early tomorrow morning, but then it's nothing but sun. But yes, temperatures have cooled. Just a high of 20 degrees for tomorrow. That's your 24-hour forecast brought to you by Action Furnace. Fix right or it's free.
Okay, we want to give final say to Danielle here, because we've still got the severe thunderstorm warning in place in some areas of central and southern Alberta tonight.
Yeah, at this point it's near Empress because this is starting to track off towards Saskatchewan. It's weakening. It's nowhere near as intense as this, for example. This is near Brooks. Storm chaser Brandon Hauk sent this one in for us. This is a supercell. This has been a cell to watch, absolutely. I want to advance this. I don't know if I was able to get this in here, but he also took a picture. Oh, hang on. Toonie size hail. Let's see. Oh, it's not showing up. Anyway, there was Toonie size hail with this as well. And this weather window brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors, crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, and Alberta's climate. So, Toonie size hail, this is on its way out. It is dying out, but it's still pretty intense. Calgary, we're not looking at any sort of intense weather coming up here. In fact, we're looking at a ridge of high pressure building in, and while it's going to be on the cooler side a little bit for the next couple of days, all sunshine, all stable for the rest of this week.
Okay, good stuff, Danielle. Thank you for that, and thank you for your company tonight. Have a great evening, and we will see you again tomorrow.